Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to languages for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in our Egypt chapter. And so at the top of the show, we'd like to thank all of our listeners who have been listening along faithfully with us. And those of you who are new, we hope you're enjoying our wonderful romp through the city of Cairo and the sands beyond. I would like to begin the show with a round of introductions, if I could, to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Meave O'Shea, and I've been doing things.
Indeed, dream a little dream with me. We shall get to it in a moment. To your right.
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and we're going to be doing things this episode. I just don't know what.
We'll get to it, I'm sure. At the end of the virtual table.
This is Jake. I'll be playing Jack Doyle, and we are definitely going to have to speed some stuff up here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, sir. To Jack's right.
This is Lonnie, and I am playing Adelsar, and I realize now that the party is kind of like spun glass, in which if you put any pressure on it, they'll fly off in a million pieces in different directions.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme with this group. As much as they have a desperate need to do things together, everyone wants to go in different directions. But that's okay. It's how people get dead. To Otto's right.
Hi, this is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach, and the only glass I like spun has gin and vermouth in it.
Couldn't agree more, Doctor. And last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex. I'll be playing Saint-Laurent, and I'm finding that I need to be in many places at once.
You know, if you could co-locate or split yourself into multiple pieces, that would probably be far, far easier than what you're trying to do. There's time. So we will raise the curtain today in Cairo, as it's roughly about, for this time period, this scene, it's about early morning. And while the house is itself a little bit abuzz with things going on, inside the rather protected space of the room of Meave O'Shea, you are somewhat in a restless state. Deep, deep in the recesses of your dreams, you are being walked along the Nile. Beside you is a glorious being. Something long, wide, and reptilian. It glides along the shores of the Nile, occasionally slipping into the water to cool its underbelly and moving back out amongst the reeds and ferns. You've been spending what you believe is a day, 2 days, in this sort of strange communicative state with this creature. It must be 2 or 3 meters high. It perches up, using its vast muscular structure to walk upright, is the best way I can imagine it. It's got a wide black hood and looks every bit of the most impressive Egyptian asp you've seen. You've been speaking with it in the strangest of consonants and vowels, ones that you yourself have a very difficult time remembering after you speak them. You get a true sense of this creature and its purpose here in Egypt, and that there are things far older than what some people believe are the old things that exist here. some scholars, some writings believe that the pharaohs of old, and perhaps even Neferka himself, were the old creatures. And what you are learning, step by step along the Nile, is that deep beneath the earth, these creatures have existed for millennia. And they are Egypt's true owners. And what has happened is that Egypt has been usurped. Not unlike what has happened countless times in history to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It has been usurped by an outside force. The two of you walk back into the sand of Egypt. You are transported away from the Nile until you return to ground you've seen before,
Mm-hmm.
outside a wide building, uncovered from the sand very recently. And the asp turns towards you, and as it turns, it melts into a different form, one with legs and a chest and the body of a man. The head still full of that serpent regalia and pronounced snout. And it speaks to you in a tongue that your conscious body would recognize with the help of a certain artifact.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear the ancient Egyptian on the breeze here, flows around your head just a few times before you can finally sink in. And it asks, are you ready for the next step?
Of course.
Do you understand what service to us means?
I believe so.
It is clear that the ground has been poisoned. We must cleanse it
Of the Black Pharaoh.
of all of them.
The Brotherhood? Or all the people?
No. The people of Egypt are our people.
That's what I thought. But all those who wish to poison Egypt and take it away from the glory that it should be.
Everyone who wears his mark.
Can that be done by completing the piece?
You speak of the capstone.
Yes.
No. The capstone is simply a protective item. It would protect Egypt should a usurper rise, which we believe is their aim.
Uh-huh.
I have tools for you, words, incantations you can speak, which will assist you in unshackling their creatures from this plane. He takes a finger and begins drawing very purposefully in the sand here. And even though the winds of the desert are up, the sand does not move or obscure the text. These very sacred words, sacred to you, begin being drawn out. And you realize what he is doing. He's writing down a sound. And again, this feels much more like the language that you were taught by your sister. This beautiful form of serpent language. And as the incantation continues, you realize at what cost this incantation could bring. And you realize that the cost cannot be deferred. It is a cost you must pay.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a peace in that, knowing that should it have to be used, its effectiveness cannot be questioned. He instructs you to memorize it.
I'll do so.
You spend several hours in the sun, your skin baking under the Egyptian heat, learning, memorizing its form. And then when you feel you've just about gotten it, the desert sands shift. And when you return your gaze to him, his arms, which were once human, now have two very similar looking black snakes as appendages. And he says, when the unclean ones get close, I can show you a way to keep them from ever touching you again. And you see this right arm surge out a meter or more. And it looks like a coiled snake comes out of his arm. It doesn't remove his arm. It doesn't leave from his arm. It's as if his arm simply shoots forward a meter or two. And you see the fangs of this serpent come out, thrash at the air.
That'll be useful.
He takes the serpents, both of them, and with his hands begins very delicately drawing a next series of incantations. And as he does so, he says to you, no matter the cost, we must have her back.
I'll do my best. And I have been prepared to pay any cost.
Good. But in our ways, as ancient and old as they are, we would rather you have them pay the cost.
I would prefer that as well.
We must survive. You must survive. Find a way.
Okay.
As soon as you say okay, you wake up. You are drenched in sweat. You realize you haven't moved from the bed since last night. You're completely parched. And you feel something wriggle out from under your clothing and into the bed.
Oh, right. I almost forgot I had.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably get up and stumble down and probably put my face under the faucet.
There's a water basin here. There isn't a faucet per se.
Oh, okay.
So there's water that would get pumped at probably a nearby well and brought into the house. But you have some water here in the room.
Yeah, I'll drink as much as I need.
Yeah, you exhaust the supply. And you realize that you're probably going to need to make yourself a little bit more presentable before going anywhere.
I'll do my best.
Yep. So when we left the rest of you, you had decided to make some potential plans, yes?
Trying to pin down exactly what we're doing next.
Right.
Yeah, we had dropped off Kafour at the museum, and like myself and Otto were heading back to the safe house, I believe.
Yep. So the two of you are going to return round about a little after midday. Jack and Lillian and Sigmund would be in the house, likely just, again, trying to piece some things together as Miss O'Shea comes down the stairs.
So we need to go to the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid, right? And the Clive expedition is also a potential target.
Is the collapsed pyramid the same thing as the red pyramid?
Because the Clive expedition is quite a ways away, isn't it? I mean, like a couple hours.
Isn't it Giza? No, it's the Giza dig.
They left Giza following the theft from the Mycernius temple.
Okay.
Right.
Well, they're at Memphis right now.
Yeah, but
I would actually like to go to the Mycernius temple.
Why are we going to the different pyramids, though? They already have the queen.
Right, but I want to check out where the queen was.
So I met with Warren Bessert.
didn't we also have reports of something coming out of one of the pyramids?
You did, from me.
Yeah.
Because I met with Warren Bessert and he gave me all his wonderful information while he was high on Hesh. about the Carlisle expedition and
Yeah.
his experience with that.
Yeah, the bent pyramid is where Neferkawa.
Are we sure that they actually have possession of the mummy? Because from what Kafur was saying, there's a chance that it might have been taken by another party.
I know that when I tried to bluff him, he stopped for a moment, just for a second.
You know what? I don't want to take that chance.
Are we going to the red pyramid to find the other half of the award symbol?
So sure, the bent pyramid is where the Carlisle expedition all went into. Yes, they went into the pyramid and they didn't come out until the next day, and they were all, according to Warren Bessert, they were all different, and they hung out with a cloaked figure that was probably
What's his name?
somebody evil.
Oh, it was probably
Um,
starts with an O.
Omar.
Omar
Yeah.
Shakti.
Omar al-Shakti.
Warren Bessert didn't know who it was.
He never
It's-
mentioned
Nope.
who
He
it
couldn't
was.
see his face. He just saw a bunch of winged beings come out from under the sand.
You say that in character, right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch of winged beings come out?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Otto?
Yeah, we've seen those winged beasts.
You specifically have seen them in the desert.
Oh no!
So
no, no,
why
no,
don't you
no.
go ahead and roll sand for me?
Oh no! I didn't need this time of the morning. Oh, thank God! 18 under 48.
You don't lose any sanity, but you literally have a flashback to watching winged creatures murder people in the desert.
Yep.
Are these the same little winged ones we were talking about? Not like the big winged.
No, these are big ones. I believe he
Yep.
said they were. They weren't tiny. They were large.
Yeah. But you don't know specifically what Bessert was talking about
No,
because
I
it was a
turn-
lie.
I turn pale and start shaking, sit down, and go, I'm not going there.
it's very noticeable that he has a very bad reaction when you bring it up.
Don't worry, Otto. We killed that thing.
You can go if you like. I won't be going with you.
Well, I'm of the opinion we go to the pyramid where the Carlisle expedition disappeared into, and then came back out.
I agree. It's probably a quicker trip. Well, maybe.
We could all go crazy.
Well, I mean, investigating them wouldn't put you in Clive's path, right?
Shouldn't,
Or would it?
No.
because they're not at the bent pyramid.
The only reason we were going to talk to the Clive expedition is because they found Nyarlathotep.
Sure. We should assume that they're no less aware of our efforts to intervene or interfere, though, than anyone else has been thus far. Their ability to share information is well beyond what I could have imagined. I mean, if Omar was able to suddenly become aware of not only my presence in the house and sniff out the girdle the way that he did, and he mentioned that the Pharaoh speaks to him often and unambiguously.
And,
So their agents seem to be very well organized.
well, this is their home base. I'm sure they have a lot of eyes and ears. They probably had people watching the mosque, so they knew you left with it.
Well, they were already at his house when I arrived. The assassin had already taken Kafur, and Omar only appeared when I confronted the assassin. They were there for Kafur. It's regrettable that the girdle is lost, but losing Kafur would have been no small sacrifice for us to make either.
So if they have both parts, they're going to be nearly impossible to stop.
Unless we get the queen's body.
I have a note that it was Queen at Giza. Is she not at Giza?
Yeah, she's at Giza.
So to kind of parse some of this, right?
Mhm.
So remember that the Clive expedition financed by the Penny Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Clive is in charge of the expedition.
Mhm.
Plus there's a few other archaeologists that you know.
Mhm.
Right? He has an expedition, so there's a bunch of them there, right? They're excavating at Memphis right now because they left, and it is known to you, especially you, Otto, that they left in a hurry, right? Following the theft of this mummy, which in your trade and in other trades is probably not looked on very, very kindly.
No,
They picked up and left, and they probably left a lot of Egyptian workers just totally out of pocket.
Yep.
So they left the Giza Plateau following the theft. of the mummy from Mycernius' temple, and they have gone to Memphis. That is where that you know that they are at right now. It's well known.
Well, if it was stolen from Clive, and Clive is aligned with the Brotherhood, then the Brotherhood doesn't have the queen.
Not necessarily.
I don't know that we have definitive proof that he is with the Brotherhood.
Just because he works for the Penhew Foundation doesn't mean he works.
Do you honestly think that Gavigan would send a bunch of cronies out here uninformed and ill-advised to dig in Egypt? Are you kidding me right now?
No, it's he would send teams out to find stuff. They don't need to know why they're looking for stuff.
But if they know what they're looking for, and they know, much like if you were to have Meave present at a dig, she would know what was important and what could be discarded or stored.
Well, logically, if they went to go find this queen, and then they lost this queen, and then they picked up and left in a hurry for someplace else, doesn't it make sense that that's what they're chasing?
Either that or the theft was a lie.
They were kicked out
Oh,
of the site
okay.
because of the theft. The theft happened and they were kicked out of the site. So that's why they're digging in Memphis.
Also, I would think they're either looking for the mummy or they're looking for some other critical artifact.
Or maybe they're just continuing on with their dig. They can't dig where they originally wanted to be, but now they have to dig somewhere else. We can't assume that they're with them.
I think we'd be better served if we did, but certainly.
All I'm saying is that right now, the pyramids are right out there, not far away. We go to the pyramids, we check them out. We go to the temple, we check it out, we see what we can find, and then we can talk to the Clive expedition.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Great. So we're in agreement?
Are we going to the pyramid?
We are. Get a hat.
Yes.
Oh
There we
boy.
go.
Puts on his large white hat. I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go. Enough chit chat.
If you know that eventually you are going to be dealing with Clive, I think it would be a good idea to get a closer look at that outcast Dutchman.
He was a broken man, but he did not strike me as a thief.
I'm not necessarily saying that he would have been responsible for the theft, but he might be able to provide some insight into whom we might actually be dealing with. If he saw strange things, or if he saw Clive or any of his associates being mysterious or behaving strangely, it might be able to provide us with a bit more insight before we deal with them directly.
So this should be a revelation that Sigmund provides information on a Dutch archaeologist that the group knows he was fired from the Clive expedition, and he is suddenly offering rather intimate details about his personality.
Mm-hmm.
I was just assuming it was doctorly insight.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for us to assume that he met with him just because he thought he was a broken man. We know he has a drinking problem.
Lillian looks really confused. I don't know anything about this Dutchman.
How do you know, Doctor?
I went and I talked to him. It seemed like a good idea. Everyone was so busy at the time that I had nothing better to do.
What did he tell you?
I can't tell you. Patient doctor confidentiality. Jack gets a big grin on his face. Mike, as a player, I forget a lot of what the Dutchman told me.
Yeah.
Because it's been like...
No, sure. Would you like me to summarize some of it?
I would love a summary, please, of what the doc knows.
Jan Wellen was a pretty troubled man. So a couple of weeks ago, he was working for the Clive expedition, and all of a sudden a mummy goes missing, and then all of a sudden somebody's without a job. So you get the distinct impression that he believes that they pinned the loss of this mummy on him, that he was some sort of bumbling archaeologist and didn't do his job. You're not certain by any means that there's any believability behind it, given the fact that the mummy would weigh thousands of pounds. And I think that your impression of him was that he loved what he did and that he was pretty broken by it.
he wouldn't have jeopardized his career for something like that.
Yeah, well, right. But he likely had a drinking problem before then. Like, you smelled not just the alcohol, and the bottles were evident. Like, some of the physical manifestations of alcoholism were present, and you knew it.
That smell and the waxiness of the skin.
Yeah, you knew he had been down a bad path before he had lost his job for the Clive expedition. But he also said some things that really stood out to you, like supposedly they found a set of scrolls with this mummy and the initial, read on it, and then he talked about how the scrolls had some very fantastic hieroglyphics on them, but that Clive wouldn't let anyone look at them.
He mentioned many startling revelations from Sedig. I would not call him a man who would be more than willing to jeopardize his career, even with his, his disease. I would not think.
So sounds like you're saying he might be a man with an axe to grind.
Perhaps, but I also do not think that, moreover, he physically would be capable of such a feat.
No, I mean for the blame, because he was blamed for it. I feel like maybe he might be a bit embittered.
Oh, absolutely. It is, of course, it is just what I'm gleaning, but he is finding scrolls with the mummy, and he is really excited about them. And it is not something I'm thinking he is, again, willing to sacrifice just for a quick buck that leaves him, where he is now, which is wallowing in his own hell.
Well, to me, the most important thing is that if she is out there still, we need to find out where she's at, and we need to get her so that we can do the protection ritual to protect Egypt from the Black Pharaoh.
Otto, I would like you to make me a edu roll.
Ooh, I'm sharp-witted. I get to do that twice.
You do.
The first one's a 77 over 75. So let's try that again.
Okay. And that's under your edu?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would not be out of character for a British-led expedition to potentially secret away an Egyptian artifact, claim that it was stolen, and then move to another dig site in hopes to extricate the item from Egypt.
Oh, yeah. That's happened a lot before.
I'm bringing this up because while talking about the Clive expedition, having a patsy to be blamed gives Clive potentially, and you would have seen this happen in Egypt before, especially after everything Carter did.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Egypt mania hits here, that people are always finding ways to secret stuff out of Egypt because people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that those items. Good big bucks for it. So I'm just putting that out there that it is something.
I mean, the only thing unusual about it is that they blamed a European guy instead of just some, Egyptian.
Bingo. So yeah, that thought pops into your head that it is possible maybe that Clive is trying to be smarter than a fox and outfox everybody.
Yes.
Make off with the mummy.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Hearing this sounds exactly like Clive has the artifact, wants to get it out, but doesn't want to be obvious about it. He knows what he's got, or he wants to get it to Al-Shakti or complete the ritual.
Well,
maybe the ritual is in Memphis.
We need to decide where we're going. I mean, the day is going to get away from us fast.
If what Otto thinks is true, then that means Clive has the mummy.
Or it's still sitting there waiting for somebody else to come and get it.
Wherever they took it.
Or discovered it. Because you can't just, in the middle of the day, pull out a whole sarcophagus and nobody's going to notice.
Okay, I assume that this ritual is going to take some time to prepare, even if they got the girdle hours ago.
I don't know, because I don't know how the Black Pharaoh exactly works.
I can tell you now, as far as their timing goes, they are very capable of making very dramatic moves in hours. I mean, they moved on the shopkeeper in less than a day. They moved on Otto in a matter of hours.
Right. And they also have people willing to sacrifice their lives, which means that they could get it off as soon as they have enough people.
And you also say that there's some sort of ward of protection?
That was over her tomb, right?
No.
No, where was it? That was at the Red Pyramid.
That was at the Red Pyramid, which is the pyramid that Bessert talked about the Clive expedition going into.
So that's the bent. The Red Pyramid is the bent pyramid?
No, the Red
Because the
Pyramid.
Clive's pyramid is where they did their ritual.
My notes say Red Pyramid is where the capstone came from.
Yeah. Okay, hang on a second. Let me get this straight. Jesus Christ. It's all my fault.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Listen, I wrote it down when we talked about it.
That's why I said that we're looking into the Red Pyramid. Yeah. Dashur for the stone.
Yeah.
That properly could be... That's the Red Pyramid,
the
right?
Bent Pyramid is not the Red Pyramid.
Oh.
The Bent Pyramid is at Dashur. Right? The Red Pyramid is at Giza,
Oh, that's one at Giza.
Is that the Giza dig? Okay.
also called the North Pyramid, is the largest of the pyramids located at the Dashur necropolis.
So the Red Pyramid is at Giza.
Yeah.
And so there's the Dashur necropolis,
Mhm.
and there's Dashur, which has the bent pyramid.
Yeah, because on a map, as you look at it, the Bent Pyramid is south directly of the Red Pyramid,
Okay.
right? And that's the stuff that can kind of get confusing. The Bent Pyramid is the one that goes up and then slopes immediately inward because it couldn't sustain itself. The Red Pyramid, right, because it was too big. They're both technically at Dashur because Dashur is the largest city, and they're both part of the same necropolis.
But there's a Red Pyramid and there's a bent pyramid.
There's actually a Black Pyramid as well, but that hasn't been brought up again.
All right, well, let's slow down.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yes, you are. So, my opinion is, if it matters to anybody, is that if they're going to do a ritual, wouldn't they go back to where the other ritual happened, where all those people died? That maybe Otto looks like he might know a little bit about.
All the people that died may have been to also break that ward.
And that is where the Carlisle expedition went into and got all changed up in dark whatever.
Right, because if you break the ward, they probably were going into whatever was being kept in there.
Right. So they took on whatever. So I'd like to go to the bent pyramid and see what they found.
Oh, what changed them?
Yes.
You're assuming it's still there.
Right.
It's possible. I mean, if we go, we could possibly find the other half of the capstone, and that could help.
So this is probably something that Otto would know too, just to kind of get your geographical markers, right?
Yep.
Giza, very close to where Cairo is, right? As well as is some of the other stuff around Giza. And you have a space then that is about an hour or so south, and that's probably more like an hour and a half given the current travel times. Although there is a tram that will go
there's a rail system.
Right. That will go south to the Red Pyramid. And then directly south of the Red Pyramid is the Bent Pyramid. So you have to think about where you want to go because there are multiple pyramids. Actually, a ton of them, but of the ones that you're involved
So it
with.
would make more sense to go to Giza, then go south to the Red, and then go south further to the Bent.
Yeah, just travel upriver.
Yeah, depending upon how you want to.
Right.
Like there's no
Upriver.
road. There's no road that goes. There's no official road. There's no big road, I should say, that goes to the Bent Pyramid. I mean, there are little single lane camel or car or horse tracks that go out there. You got to think that most of this stuff is not as built up as it is today. So,
Well, then I say we pack up, get everything that we need, provision up, because we don't know how or where we're going to stay. How long we're going to be gone. But I think that, that would make the most sense to go to Giza first, then down to the Red Pyramid, and then to the Bent Pyramid. Otherwise, we're going to be crisscrossing all over the place, and it'll take more time than we need.
So what's that Gisa that we need to look for?
That's where she was.
So that's where the other half of the ward would be?
No.
The other half of the ward, if it exists, would be at the Red Pyramid,
Right.
if it's not broken.
Nefrenka is in Giza. Well, was. Maybe still.
The problem isn't necessarily that we'll be like overlanding very much. The problem will be getting into the sites.
But Dr. Kafur wrote you a letter, which you got essentially doing some rather creative writing when it comes to the connection between the Cairo Museum and the Penhew Foundation, in hopes that it would grease the wheels with the Clive expedition.
All right, well then, let's
Head to
go.
Giza?
Yeah, let's pack up and go because somebody knows where we are. And
Okay. I'm going to slander won't fit in my bag, Willie.
Sure. I mean, how big is the bag?
Well, I usually hold like 4 books in it. Plus, yeah, because I took my dad's journals out.
Probably have to dump a book or two to... I know, it's tough, but if you want to keep Slander with you, then you're going to have to make
Or
a
I
little
have to
space.
keep them out in the open.
Yeah, or you have to figure out a creative way to carry him with underneath the folds of your robes.
I can probably help Maeve with that because I have a question about preparedness, because at this point I feel like we're a little outgunned. So I'm hoping to like I have a pretty good understanding as to the types of stuff that we've seen, right? So I don't know whether or not those spells or those rituals are contained in one or many of the books that you have, but I know that some of them, specifically like the ones that perhaps Gavigan used, or maybe some of the other ones that these other pharaohs share, or these pharaoh types share, might be in the Book of Vivant, which I would like to dissect if you're not actively like using it for something.
I'm not done reading it, am I?
You are not even close.
Yeah. I'm still reading it in my spare time.
Sure, but this is not my spare time. This is something that we actively need to do. So like,
You're not gonna learn anything in those in just look. I know that I learn this stuff faster than most people, and I'm not done. Like, I have only gotten 3 things maybe out of it.
okay, so what do we know? We know that there is some ritual that will summon fire vampires. We know that there is a ritual that will summon giant winged beasts that happened at the Moss. We know that there's a spell or ritual that will make someone immune or resistant to most weapons.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there are spells that will move people, that will allow a person to move things and crush things with their own will. We know that there are ways to call lightning. We know there are ways to enchant weapons. My question is, if we know that there are all these things, how many of them do we have access to that we can utilize?
Well, my contact wing thing is actually sentient creatures, not things to be controlled. So I suggest nobody contact them. I learned about them to learn you probably don't want to get a hold of them.
So like, for example, we should all probably learn how to perform the protective sigil that you can place.
Okay. That totally makes sense, but
They know that we can create fog flasks that hide us from these.
I don't know that everybody has enough willpower, inherent power to make that happen. Because when we were on the train, I had to use Lady Elizabeth's power as well. Like, I couldn't do it myself.
But you created one that was big enough to protect like 8 people.
Right. Which I can do again. It's just all of you have to be willing to pitch in.
And it requires specifically you to be there at all times. You can't be everywhere at once.
Well, yeah, you can. I mean, if you want to learn how to draw the symbol and do that, I'm not against that. But you have to realize that everything costs.
Yes, I understand. It doesn't matter anymore.
To you. What if Jack doesn't want to pay that price? What if the doctor doesn't want to pay that price?
They don't have to. I'm saying, I believe that we are all capable to some degree of doing any number of things. These people that we're dealing with are not special.
No, they're not. Nobody is.
They've just given a lot of themselves over. They've paid hefty prices, and they're willing to do what is necessary to get the power that they want.
Mm-hmm.
We have power. We collectively have power at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if we know what we know, we should utilize it. If the doctor's interest in the occult goes into areas where maybe he wants to know how to ward a place of incursion like Kufor can, or I don't want to speak for anyone else. What I'm saying is these are these untapped secrets.
My plate is full, thank you.
Right, but every time I cast something, do you realize that I slip sometimes out of reality? I don't feel okay sometimes. That's why you don't see me casting stuff left and right.
I'm not saying I want to do this all the time. I'm saying when it is necessary, like when we encounter, I don't know, a cult leader or a monster or other things that happen to, haunt our existence.
And I'm usually there. The only time that happens is because somebody usually slips off by themselves and loses shit we need.
You probably shouldn't make a whole lot of presumptions about what happened the night that you were sleeping. If you'd like, I can explain it to you, or you can continue trying to chastise me.
No.
I'm simply asking for help. What is this?
Well, here. And I'm going to give him the Noctic scripts then. Here you go.
I've already gone over these.
Well, the ward is in there.
Yeah, so fundamentally, the way the systematic stuff works is after you do a read, what we would call a condensed read or a skim, then you can go in and go after spells specifically. And so if you've done have you done a skim of the Noctic scripts yet?
I can't. It's in Latin.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's going to be the kind of barrier there, is that you have to be able to speak that language to be able to decipher the script, or you have to find someone to translate it for you into a language you can understand.
It doesn't take me that long to skim a book.
No.
I mean, if you just want to hold on to it for whatever reason, the Book of Ibon is written in a language that I understand. It is a text that I can actually, and it suits our needs. It's about a lone survivor.
Okay. Okay, fine. Have it. I will not be responsible for what happens. Have it. Cast everything that you think we'll need. Hand it over.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna go pack my bags.
Okay, you go pack your bags.
I'm headed out to make the necessary arrangements.
Sure.
There is a list of goods that we didn't get to acquire for the expeditions that I will give to Audle. It's basically, I have the list here if you want to see it. It's just pickaxe, shovels. There's all the stuff that Jack asked me to get before, but we didn't have time to grab.
Sure. Jack, what's your plan?
I'm just getting my stuff ready to go.
I'm going to go to Jack while he's getting prepped.
Okay.
Got a second?
Yes, Sam.
I'll slide into the room. I can't go with you to Giza.
No?
No, I still need to pay
Have
our
a
fare.
man to kill? Yeah.
I need to pay our fare, and I don't know what's going to transpire as a result of that, but if I am staying here, there's a few things that I can help take care of. So if we can spend some time looking into this Dutchman, if the Clive expedition is the last, this archaeologist knows about Clive, I can either catch you at Giza or the next destination.
I'm going to guess that we will probably be either in Darshur or Memphis by the time you clean up whatever you have to do.
Well, either way, I'll be able to catch up. I don't see that being a problem. But Yeah, our ride wasn't free.
Good luck.
Do you need any stuff? I will shake duffel number 1, which basically contains like extra guns and hardware.
No, I think we have everything we need.
Otto has the list of expedition supplies. I hope that it's complete enough for you.
All right.
And I will quietly assemble my things, and I'll probably stop in with the doctor before I leave.
Yeah, I would imagine that Sigmund's probably packing up.
Yep, in kind of a dreamy, he's kind of humming to himself as he folds up a few things, make sure his bag is packed.
You know, the train ride seems like it was years ago. So much has happened.
I know. It has been, 4 or 5 days, and it yet seems like years.
I know that the process of coming into my own has been a challenge for everyone. It's no mystery to me, Doctor.
Well,
But I want you to know that I always appreciated what you did for me, what you've done for me.
no birth is without pain. No birth is easy. That's how the way of things. You have done us all good as well.
Perhaps. I'm going to tidy up some matters in Cairo when you all depart, so I'll be joining you either in Giza or perhaps Darshore, hopefully with information that you can use, that we can use to deal with the Clive expedition and everything that's going on out there.
Well, remember that while information does make our job quite a bit easier, it is not worth sacrificing yourself for. Remember that, Sam.
No, I'm not a martyr, as hopefully I established by not dying for that girdle. But the standard methods of investigation are no longer working to our benefit. I feel like our playbook's pretty transparent. And we're outmatched in power and influence and reach and resources and manpower. I'm daunted, Doctor.
It is in these times of challenge that we find out who we truly are. So maybe this is good. Maybe this is good for you. It will teach you exactly who you are, Sam.
Are you concerned about who I am, Doctor?
I am not. No more so than I am concerned who I am.
Well, that's good. I'd hate for you to feel unsafe. I'll offer my hand.
He takes it gladly and shakes it. I think underneath all of the scars, Sam, there's a very good man who is just confused and trying to get out. We will find him. Do not worry.
Oh, I'm sure there's probably a version of that somewhere in there. Jack didn't really seem to take a liking to it, but I noticed you were missing your old cane. So I will offer the doctor the cavalry saber from the lodge that I stole in London.
That's awesome. Actually,
That-
it's fantastic looking.
Doc hefts it and gives it a few expert swashes.
Whoa.
Oh no, there's no clumsiness about it either.
No.
Doesn't mean I'm not spared.
It's beautifully balanced. I will hang on to it for you.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it,
Please take it.
Sam, you probably noticed a deafness with the blade that you were not familiar the doctor had.
I mean, I've seen him spar with his cane, right? I've seen him wallop a ghoul.
Yeah,
So
but
I know he's pretty handy, but this is different for sure.
This is training, skill. This is
He picks one of the buttons off of his shirt on the stand.
yeah. This mask is Zoro stuff.
It's a good look for you, Doctor. Wear it well.
Dankeschön. I will. Who knows? Perhaps it will save my life.
Otto said he wasn't going where? Was it to Giza or to
I think
Darshore?
he was more concerned about going to Darshore.
Right, with the wingy thingies.
Yes.
Just let's not do that. Let me not do that.
Well, we can meet up with you then after Giza. We can meet up with you in Memphis. But do you want to be with the Clive expedition all by yourself?
It won't be a problem.
Okay.
Fantastic. That sounds like. So we're not just splitting the party. We're cutting it in 3 pieces then.
No. Oh, no.
Eventually, yes.
Oh, no. I'll just simply tell her that it's not going to be a problem, and then I'm going to stay at the train.
It won't be a problem at all. I'm just going to sit over here and have some tea.
And read the paper.
Exactly.
Well, a guide has to stay up on current events.
Well, of course. How did he know I was coming?
Magic. Anyway.
Papers.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to get, Slander situated and...
You have more room in your backpack now that the book is not there.
Yeah.
And
So I'll
Slander-
keep my other books in there. And
Slander fits.
And then, make sure I have water and any,
So, Otto, you were going out to pack up and then gather supplies for a trip south?
Yes.
Okay.
I look at his list.
Mm-hmm.
His list is exhaustive.
It is.
However, he's not really cognizant of the conditions on the ground here, as well as, looking at the party, there are certain people who are not going to be swinging axes, who are not going to be swinging hammers. So we won't need quite as many things as he thinks he needs.
Well, that's why there's not 4 of those.
It's true. I mean, there is only one shovel.
Well, no, it says shovels, which means multiple.
Right, like, for the dudes.
For probably you and Jack, right? Because I'm guaranteeing you that he's probably not betting on Sigmund doing any shoveling or digging or...
I certainly hope not.
He's umbrella holding.
Right.
And now he's a swordsman.
Right.
He's probably not going to need pythons because, quite frankly, when you're dealing with a pyramid, pyramids have methods of easy access and you don't actually climb them.
You may investigate that on your own. But yeah, if you gather what is on the list, it will take you likely the time it takes the rest of the folks here to pack up. Supply stores, especially ones that deal with expeditions, digging in the desert, they've been very plentiful.
Yeah, there's lots of that going around.
Yeah, Egypt mania is hot. Right, it's huge right now. So getting the supplies it's easy.
It's simultaneously easy and way too expensive because they soak Europeans who don't understand the value of things.
Luckily, you're not a European. My question to you is, should you gather a fair amount of the list, how will you be transporting it back?
See, that's the other problem. He wants us to be loaded for... Basically, expeditions aren't just the people in the expedition. There's also a whole bunch of baggage handlers along with it, which we're short of.
And you, being the greatest guide in Egypt, already know how to solve this. You are going to need, animals which can hold the load.
Yep.
And that means you must acquire camels.
Yep.
That we won't sacrifice.
I mean, we won't rule it out, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget the quotes around that?
Yeah.
That we won't.
Nobody can see the quotes. So we won't belabor the point here. My question to you is, do you acquire what they need? And do you acquire the animals which to carry it with?
There's literally a train service that runs all the way to Memphis.
100%.
Right, but we'd be in public with potential bad guys that know our faces, so they know where we're going. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be the other voice in your brain.
They haven't attacked us at the safe house yet, which means they neither know where we are or care where we are. Therefore, they're probably not tracking our move, at least not in any way that we can ascertain. If they are, camels full of provisions aren't going to be any better than being on a train.
Mm.
Also, there are places to get those things further down the line.
There are. Yeah, you could probably go to Darshur.
Yep.
And collect those items and leave Cairo in a little bit of a lighter state.
And it would actually be better for me to do
But
that
we're going
because
to Giza
then,
first.
Right.
Right, but Giza is the tourist trap.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Giza has been so thoroughly explored, even by this point, that literally anything that you need is just standing around.
Okay, so then can we say that you will go in and probably acquire additional water, a couple of things, small items, right?
Yeah,
probably
batteries. Batteries would be good.
Right, yeah. And then probably head back and explain that as a guide, you would know we will just travel to Giza on foot. And then from there, we will go. I know it seems like a far way, but it's really not. And there is car service. You could get them a car to go to Giza if you want.
Yeah.
Camels. I want to ride a camel.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
One hump or two. But then you could get on the tram and go to Darshur, collect what you need, including camels.
And while I'm at Darshur collecting the stuff, I'm not with permit.
Correct. See, that's how it works.
See, this is what being a guide is about.
Right. So you come back with this plan. You may attack your fellow investigators with it.
Attack? That's a little aggressive.
I mean, maybe I'm a little aggressive right now.
Use some pickaxes on your fellow companions.
Wait, I think I saw this in a horror movie once.
At least once. At least. We're gonna go all cabin in the woods on this.
Okay, so why don't we say then, Sam, you've extricated yourself then? You're
Yeah. After I visit with the doctor and drop off the steward, I will bid the house adieu. And I venture out in an incognito mode.
It is not lost on you as you leave the safe house that to the empty lot to the right of it, the ground there is still gray and dark. So you've left an indelible mark on the face of Cairo. You head out, and then around probably 5 or 10 minutes later, Otto returns with small provisions. Looks like water, maybe some food items, as you were all on the first floor here preparing to leave.
Batteries. Definitely batteries.
Okay.
That's the easiest thing to get in Cairo. That you might not be able to get down further south down the line.
Sure.
Are batteries in the 20's much bigger than the batteries today?
Likely, yes.
Yes. Yep. Electric torches, batteries.
Yep. You get a few of the items on the list, the stuff that you can easily carry. So the group is going to travel to Giza, the pyramid there.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you then, Otto, is how is your group traveling to Giza?
I would recommend the train.
Okay.
And that's why Slander stays in the back.
And I will also scrub all that ridiculous nonsense off my face. Because, and I will dress in my best finery. Because
Certainly,
I am
certainly.
on official business.
So you can get a motor bus that goes there because the train does not go there directly just yet. But you get...
Yeah, I can get them tickets on the motor bus.
You can get tickets to the motor bus. You would also know that guided tours of the pyramids can be attained at an office along the street from the Mena House Hotel, which isn't far. You know where it's at. The Mena House Hotel is where the Cairo tram terminal terminates. And from there, you would take a motor bus up to Giza.
Yep.
It is in the afternoon, so it does not mean that you can't go to Giza in the afternoon. But you would also know that it's likely that the tour will be a little bit lighter in the afternoon, which is nice. Most people go to Giza in the morning after breakfast or before breakfast to see the sunrise.
The only problem I have is depending on how much time it's going to take while we're in Giza, and then we go to Darfur and how much time they take in Darfur.
Darshur.
Darshur, yes, Darshur. Depending on the amount of time we take in Darshur, we could be hitting Memphis very late in the evening.
Or we stay in Dashur overnight.
I like getting there late. We can sneak around better when it's dark.
That's
We're
true.
not sneaking
Why not?
because we're going to the Clive expedition, right? We literally have a letter of introduction.
Eventually, yeah. But if we think they're sneaky, we need to be sneaky.
So let me ask, when you get to Giza, or when you get to the tram station that terminates at the hotel where you buy tickets on the motor bus to get to Giza, what are you doing when you get there?
Isn't it where Nefren Ka was found? Right?
Nefren Ka wasn't found.
Is she there?
You mean Nitukris, the mummy?
Oh, okay. So I have the wrong name down.
Yes. I guess from the guide's standpoint, when you get to this location, are you going to be doing any sort of talking with the local officials or talking with other guides or?
Yeah, I want to know if anything's closed, if anything's off limits, due to any potential theft that's been happening.
Sure.
Any crime that's happening. I also have to make sure to kind of keep it with the Egyptian officials rather than the English officials.
Yeah, actually, you don't see a ton of English officials here at all.
Yeah, I know. That's the best part.
But when talking with the Egyptian officials, they do admit that there's been a little bit of a stir up, given at least since finding this Clive expedition after they left. There has been a lot of a stir up that's gone on after finding this hidden shaft. Other archaeologists at Giza identified it as a burial shaft, which there are quite frankly a ton of that dot the landscape. And as baffling as the theft was already, it was beyond comprehension that someone could get a sarcophagus of that size down a vertical shaft outside the pyramid without anyone noticing. So when you talk to those Egyptian officials, they are truly baffled how it happened. They do not understand how it could happen so quickly.
That gives the archaeologist in me a different idea. If something is way too hard to do one way, there's always an alternate way that somebody does it that makes it easier.
I mean, potentially.
It's kind of like how they built the pyramids. You build the earthen ramp next to it, and then you slide the blocks up it rather than trying to lift the blocks up. It seems to me that if there's a burial shaft with a sarcophagus of this note and of this size, there's probably a second way in there.
It's entirely possible. They will sell you a map.
I will buy a map.
Yeah, they sell you a map of it, and on it you can see that they've kind of hard scribbled where the new find is.
Mm-hmm.
They're happy to provide you with one.
And I would like to head that way and actually look over the land.
Okay. So it's fairly clear to all of you who are at Giza that there is a reason why this is a wonder of the ancient world. It's a phenomenal piece of architecture. It truly is wondrous. And I think there's all of you in some way can appreciate the work that has been done. In some ways, Sigmund, this is exceedingly fulfilling for you. You have dreamed about seeing the pyramids for a very long time.
Yeah, he stands in reverence of these amazing monuments.
And there's something in the air here for you, Doctor, that you sense something here. This feels like a waypoint for so many different people and cultures. You probably muse a little bit to yourself about what if someone were to dream here, like you wonder if there's a place like the terrain in your dreams. Is there some place here that's like that?
How long are we going to be here? I'm going to go take a nap.
I don't think you're planning on having any nap time anytime soon, but it's something you think about. There are other pyramids at Giza, of course, but it really all depends on where you are planning on going.
Is it nighttime right now?
It is not nighttime yet.
Okay.
Actually, it only takes you about half an hour or so to get here via tram.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're at the pyramid at Giza. What are you doing?
I'm just along for the ride. I wanted to go to the bent pyramid.
Get there. Is anyone going to continue to investigate
Yes.
the actual burial hole where they found?
I would like to.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
While they're looking at the hole, I'm going to look around.
Okay.
I'm looking for possible lower entrances.
Sure.
I'm gonna send Slander down.
You're going to send down the hole?
Yeah, well, it's a straight drop, isn't it?
We can talk about it when we get there. Jack, did you have something?
No, I'm going to go with Maeve, Miss O'Shea, and check out the burial hole chamber.
Well, it's a hole. It's about as impressive as you could imagine a hole in the ground being. I'll get back to it in just a second. Otto, what did you have?
I'm going to assume navigate would be the role, or natural.
It's probably, it's probably going to be a natural world roll.
Okay.
Because if you're looking for something, I suppose that depends on what you're looking for specifically. I know you're looking for some other secondary chamber or some other egress point.
Yep.
I suppose it's a hard natural roll.
Hard natural roll. All right. It's a 79 over 25. I'm gonna need to push that.
Going to push it. Very good.
Yep. Nope. There's something there. I know there's something there. Nope. I failed that too. Something bad happened.
That's a failed push roll.
Yep.
Okay. You are looking around trying to get a good read on the situation. You're trying to find any kind of some specific where these secondary holes are. And you remember the Egyptian officials mentioning that it's not uncommon to find burial shafts in this area because many people were buried at the necropolis, at the Giza necropolis. Unfortunately, not all those holes have been found, except a new one gets found today.
Yep, because I found it.
You find it. You literally step in one. And so what I'd like you to do is make me a hard dex roll.
84 over 35. I did not make that dex roll.
No, you did not. So while the rest of you are investigating one hole, your guide and compatriot falls down a hole.
I'll go down the hole.
Okay. So you... Yeah, okay. It's about a 50-foot drop.
Oh.
Maybe.
What is it with your characters falling
I mean, nobody was holding him up aloft this time.
this time?
I mean, yeah, he was dropped.
This
Yeah,
time,
that wasn't
things
really-
are different.
Unceremoniously dropped. Yeah. So,
What is
50,
this, a Shadowrun fall?
50 feet is considerable.
Yes.
You do not take the first 10 foot of damage. However, you literally failed to push roll and found yourself in a hole. Okay, so I have two questions for you.
Sure.
One, how many hit points do you have?
29.
Okay. So you're going to take 21 points of damage.
Oh, that's a major
Holy
wound.
crap.
It is not a major wound because you're a pulp character and pulp characters don't get major wounds.
I'm gonna rub some dirt in it.
You fall. I would like hard listen rolls from
Yep.
the rest of the
I was
assembled
gonna
party.
ask if he was yelling on the way down.
Probably screaming.
I got a 37 out of 79.
Okay, that's hard success.
41 over 20. I don't hear anything.
I got 8 under 47. That's extreme success.
It is very good, Jay.
Hard success.
Very good. So Lillian, Jack, and Sigmund, who are all somewhat kind of close together, hear in the distance a very directed scream. And you turn because it catches your ear because it is a scream of someone in full panic. And you watch your guide fall. He disappears off the horizon line, which is terrifying.
I start running towards that way.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, does he have the equipment? Because didn't we have rope in that list? Okay.
They haven't gotten the equipment yet because you're going to get
That's
it
really
in.
still on the camels,
No.
right?
Yes.
Shoot. All right, I start running towards
Okay.
where I saw Otto disappear.
So at Otto, you fall and scream. And then the ground comes way too fast. And you hear your bones jar and break. And you feel the side of your face get immediately wet with something.
Yep.
The worst part is, even through the bone crunching, even through the desperate fall, you are still awake. Lillian, you make it to the hole.
Can I see anything down there?
No, it's dark.
So I yell, Otto, are you okay? I'm assuming you don't answer. Do you answer?
He probably does not answer, at least for the first few rounds. He's,
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I shine a torch down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me offer some technical details, Jim. So you shine a torch down there and you immediately realize what part of this issue is, Jack. This is the walls of this hole are sheer. There are no breaks in them. You would have to be a expert climber to climb this thing without a rope or without gear. And having fallen backwards down the hole, you're convinced he's dead. You don't know for sure, but you can see his body. And as you put light on it, you can see that he is deeply wounded.
We're going to have to get somebody out here with some ropes and
There's no other way. Like, it's a man-made hole.
No, well, technically, yes. It's an ancient man-made hole.
So is there tunnels underneath, like that go into the pyramid?
You have no idea. I mean, this is a fair. It's not terribly close to where you were, but it's
basically 4 stories down.
yeah.
Well, we have to go back to town and get somebody.
Yeah, you need to get
well,
someone.
there's probably some guards here we can contact, and they can, I'm sure they have an idea of what to do.
Yeah, there are people nearby.
But do they speak English? I mean, no.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they probably do.
Jack, do you want to go find somebody?
Yeah, I'll go find somebody. You guys stay here and
In case he
keep 'em
wakes
company.
up.
Right. So, Sigmund, just looking down here, you are gravely concerned for him and his bodily health.
Okay, Jack went off to go get help.
He did.
Is there anything to anchor? Okay, so we do have rope with us.
No.
No, you haven't
Okay.
stopped.
I will find some.
Supplies
There is bound to be some nearby, and I have a special knack for finding things in moments like this.
You do, but that knack requires luck expenditure, which is something you don't have.
Oh,
enough right
yeah.
now
I
to
don't,
that.
do I?
But
Shit.
Can I take a look around and see if there's any way to get down there other than the hole?
you certainly can take a
Okay.
look around.
That is a
Would that be-
fabulous idea. I will help
Would
as
that
well.
be spot hidden?
It would be.
I had a 41 out of 88.
Okay. So that's a hard success.
I got a 5 under 80, extreme success.
You did. Very good.
Nice.
So, Doctor, you are absolutely certain from your vision past that there are no other pathways down there. This is a burial hole. I mean, it isn't the finished stone inside an old masonry structure. It's not a pyramid. This is literally a hole that's been dug into the ground. And you can see bits of garbage down there, probably from tourists or locals. There's probably old bones down there. It's not a good place to be. He needs to get out immediately. You don't have another pathway to get to, unfortunately. But you are sure of it, given that extreme spot hidden.
Do I think I could climb down there safely?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Given your frame and your experience, think that it would be a death sentence to try to climb down without a rope.
Okay.
Jack, you do find someone. It takes you a few minutes. You locate an Egyptian police officer.
Help, our Dragoman has fallen into a burial shaft or something.
Oh, he becomes immediately alert and he signals a few other local folks nearby and begins barking out orders in Egyptian, and he follows you up the hill towards the rest of your compatriots. What happened?
I don't know. He was just wandering around, I guess, and ground must have given away underneath him. It's fairly far down there. We're going to need some rope and maybe a crew or something.
So, in short order, say a minute or two, men arrive with about 50 feet or so of rope, give or take, and 2 or 3 men begin to anchor it around themselves. And you see a young man, lithe, small, get dropped down the hole. It looks like they've done this before. Otto, you begin painfully coming to. Everything hurts. You can see that someone's being lowered down towards you, but I would like you to give me a spot hidden roll.
Hey, while they're doing that, I think now is a good time to poke around in places I'm not supposed to be in.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
You're going to attempt to utilize this as a distraction to do what?
To get inside the pyramid and
Look at the new place. We don't have to sneak in there, though, right? They showed us where it was, right? No, they showed Otto where it was.
well, I want to get in there when no one's around.
Well,
Nope, I failed that spot hidden roll battle.
there's just so much pain and blood all over your face. It's very difficult to make out what's going on. It looks like something is descending from the heavens. You don't know if it's something good or something bad, but right now you want to be anywhere but here.
Yeah.
So as far as getting in while this is going on to find something, all you're going to end up finding with this passageway with what you believe was the burial chamber would be going inside the pyramid itself. So it means you'd be leaving your other two compatriots as well.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
They can stay here and keep an eye on Otto while Maeve and I go in and look around.
So what you would know is that the place that she was found at was in Mycernius' pyramid, which is here, right, at the Great Pyramids of Giza. It's the least impressive of all the pyramids. So it's a bit of a walk, but that's okay.
Mhm.
This small boy gets passed down a couple of relatively thin wood boards, right? And he begins to strap Otto to these boards. And he fashions, after a little while, what is essentially a stretcher. It's a fascinating piece of work, Doctor. You have seen things in some of the Alps that they do very similar work when climbers fall.
During avalanches and mining collapses.
Mm-hmm. And slowly but surely, they begin to hoist Otto up. And it takes probably a good 15 to 20 minutes, maybe more, for them to secure him and then begin bringing him up. The boy who comes up after him comes up by hand on the burial shaft. He uses his frame and pushes himself against the burial shaft to walk himself up. It is quite the feat for those who watch. But they extricate him, and he is awake, Doctor, and probably wishes he wasn't.
I can do something about that. And immediately after making sure his vitals are stable enough, I will give him something to help him be not awake anymore.
Okay. So I'm going to close with this scene with Otto on a stretcher, a makeshift one, the doctor injecting him with some sort of hypodermic needle as pyramids of Giza are our backdrop, and Miss O'Shea and Jack begin to go look for what secrets may lie around Mycernius. So thank you for joining us again, and we will see you next week.